The last time you slept well, bro, you were probably like physically tired and exhausted, and you were kind of carefree. There wasn't much on your mind, so you got really good sleep. That was probably when you were like younger and everything was better, the good old days. And now you're older and you're just fucked because you can't get any sleep, bro, and your sleep's messed up and you're awake all the time. But thankfully, all these problems with sleep can kind of be solved, and then you can go back to sleeping well again like when you were younger. Because honestly, my sleep used to be so bad, like straight up I had to smoke fucking weed every night to sleep. And even then my sleep was trash, bro. And then I fixed my sleep for like a solid year, and I was sleeping super well, like 8 hours of sleep a night. And then recently, like a month ago, my sleep's just been shit again. And I was like, what the hell's going on? So then I had to like start researching and start trying to come up with ideas on how to sleep better again. So I'm just gonna give you all my knowledge on sleep and try and help you sleep better, because thankfully, once again, I've kind of fixed my sleep up a bit, and I've had to go through all this shit of like fixing my sleep. So the reasons you are not sleeping basically is because you're firstly not physically tired enough, you're not exhausted enough, you're not worn out. Or secondly, you're physically tired, but you're not mentally tired. So you're exhausted, but your mind is like awake. And the third option is, which is the worst, third option is that you're physically tired and you're mentally tired, but your mind is still like retarded at night and it won't shut the fuck up, and then you still can't sleep. But as I said, all these problems can be solved. Those are kind of the three main reasons why you're not getting any sleep, but they can be fixed. So I will say the obvious thing is physical tiredness. If you're not doing much in the day, this is like what I kind of used to do. If you're kind of just like watching fucking movies all day and like playing video games all day and whatever, that's cool, but it's obviously not going to make you physically tired. So easier said than done. It's like you just do some exercise or some shit. But like that's kind of obvious. Like if you do exercise and if you're doing something that's wearing yourself out in the day, it's going to be much easier to sleep. But I will say what's more important than being physically tired is being mentally tired to sleep. And what I mean by being mentally tired is basically just having your mind relax and being able to like shut off your fucking mind so it stops talking when you're trying to sleep. That's probably what's more important than being physically tired, but I thought I should just tell you that, yeah, if you're not doing anything in the day, if you're not really doing much, then obviously it's going to be difficult to sleep. In that case, you probably just want to try like sleeping sleeping later. You want to try sleeping later if you're really not doing anything in the day. But the thing is, which I found on my journey to get better sleep, is that you can actually fall asleep and sleep a lot even if you're not physically tired. So if you have a day where you're not doing anything, you can still kind of shut off your brain and like force it to fucking sleep, bro. You can force your brain to shut off consciousness, and there's kind of a couple ways to do that. I will say as well, when you're like trying to sleep, I know everyone always talks about your phone, like don't go on your phone half an hour before bed and shit, the blue light's really bad and blah blah blah. I'll say the whole phone thing is, the blue light is bad, whatever, but your phone is gonna fuck your sleep up so bad because it's very difficult for your mind to go from a state of chaos to calm. And the opposite is true as well. If your mind's in a really if you're in a really calm mind state, it's going to be more difficult for your mind to like go into a chaotic state. There's going to be some kind of like tension there, and your mind's going to want to stay calm. So the opposite is true, is that if you're on your phone a lot and if you're looking at a bunch of apps and switching tabs and shit like I was doing like a couple nights ago, that's gonna, like, it doesn't really matter what you do, like what kind of sleep method you do, that's gonna make shit so much more difficult. And I know people will go on about like blue light is bad and whatever, but the worst thing is that your phone will put your mind in chaos. So yeah, everyone says it, but it's true. Do not go on your fucking phone like half an hour before bed. I swear that is gonna mess up like every sleep attempt you try, unless you're extremely physically tired and it like cancels that out. But I'll kind of be focusing on methods that make you mentally tired, because I think that's more important. So the first thing to make your mind mentally tired to help you sleep is kind of like a meditation method I have. It's not really like meditation, I guess. It's kind of just focusing on your breathing as you fall asleep. But it's not meditation because you're not doing it in a calm way. When I say focus on your breathing to help you sleep, I mean literally put 100% of your fucking focus on your breathing, and every time you realize you get a thought that's distracting you, just try hard to refocus on your breathing, bro. So that's the first thing. And why this works, why focusing on your breathing a ton works, is firstly because it wears out your mind. When you're 100% focusing on your breath, it will wear out your mind and make you mentally tired, and then kind of eventually you'll realize you're getting super distracted and losing consciousness when that happens. Secondly, besides making your mind like extremely tired, it's helping to stop the intrusive thoughts enter your mind and whatever, kind of like meditation in that sense. Because if you think about this, like as I said earlier, the last time you slept well was probably like when you were a kid and you weren't really worrying about shit. Like now we're kind of older, bro. We're kind of like worrying about shit all the time, and we have all these thoughts coming into our head, so it kind of fucks up our sleep bad. So this meditation method is like really good for that. Also, other things that make your brain kind of tired and relaxed is like reading. Once again, reading firstly is just very relaxing anyways, and it's calming. So it's gonna put your brain in a very calm, relaxed state. And when I say reading, I mean reading a physical fucking book, bro. Do not go on your phone. Do absolutely avoid your phone if you're trying to sleep. It's gonna mess you up so bad. So something like reading a physical book is good. Also, like, you know how people, I don't know if you do this, but you know how people like create scenarios in their head before they go to sleep? Like some people, like I know I have a fucking like fantasy world in my head that I've had since I was like 13 and I just be like creating scenarios and shit in my head for that world. I don't know if that sounds like retarded or if you have that as well, but a lot of people do that, and a lot of people will be creating these scenarios and fantasy worlds and shit in their head because that's calming, and that once again distracts them from like intrusive thoughts they're having that's gonna pop into their head. Another kind of like meditation method, so that thing's good, focusing 100% on your breathing, not letting any intrusive thoughts come into your mind, and when they do come into your mind, refocus on your breath. Reading is good as well, but this all worked for me, and this actually worked for me so well that I felt like I could sleep even when I wasn't physically tired. I got to a point where I felt like I could actually force myself to sleep whenever I needed, and so I got really good sleep for like months and months. But that's like, there's a level up from that where your mind's really fucked up and you really cannot sleep, where those methods of just relaxing your mind and shit is gonna, it's gonna help, but it kind of won't solve your sleep issues if your mind is really fucked up. So, and my mind is really fucked up from like several months ago. I've just been having mad like stress and shit and mad intrusive thoughts which are keeping me awake, which made me have to resort to other methods to sleep. So the second kind of meditation related thing which will help you sleep if all that other stuff's not really helping is watching your thoughts as you go to sleep. This is very simple to do. It's easy. You can just do it tonight. When you're falling asleep, watch your thoughts as if you're an outside observer. Not to get all like spiritual on you or some shit, but just watch your thoughts and kind of watch for the next thought to come. Like, watch your brain and be like, what's the next thought gonna be? And that may sound like retarded, but just do it, trust me. And what this does is like, when you're watching your thoughts, you'll realize that when you're watching your thoughts and waiting for the next thought to come and observing them from an outside perspective, you'll realize that you actually aren't getting any more thoughts for as long as you do this. And that's because if you're focusing on your thoughts and focusing on the next thought, your brain won't produce the fucking thought because it's kind of like you're cutting it off. A good way to think about it is that your thoughts in your brain, your intrusive thoughts that are keeping you awake at night, are like shadows. And you as the observer, because you're like a cool person, you are the light, right? You're the light, your intrusive thoughts are the shadows. So when the light shines down on the shadows cannot survive. You are cutting off the shadows, aka your intrusive thoughts. And you know, like, it's not that deep, bro, but I just thought that metaphor sounded hard as fuck, so I wanted to say it to sound cool. But it's not that deep. Essentially, just like, if you focus on your thoughts and just observe them, this is not focusing on your breath, this is watching your thoughts, you'll realize they stop coming and you'll have a much, much easier time to sleep. Now the issue is, even after all of this, after being physically tired and mentally tired and doing all this shit to relax you, it can still reach a point where you actually cannot sleep after this. And this is the extreme point I've reached in the past couple of months, where my thoughts have become so intrusive and so bad, despite me doing like meditation every day, exercising every day. So I'm physically worn out and I'm mentally worn out, yet I still cannot sleep because my mind is just fucked and it won't shut the fuck up and it's keeping me awake. I hope that you're not at this stage, but maybe you are at this stage, and I guess it's useful to know about this shit if you get to this point. And this is kind of the stage where people have genuine insomnia and they're awake for like 5 days straight, even though they're tired as fuck. And then they have to go to the doctor and get some medication, which is what we want to avoid. We do not want to go to the doctor and have to get fucking sleeping pills, okay? We don't want to go through that. So this stage, this stage is just because your mind has so many intrusive thoughts that you cannot sleep. And not to sound like your therapist, bro, but if you get to this point, you need to get these thoughts out of your fucking head. And not to sound cringe, and I don't know if you've done this before, but a good way to do this is journaling. And by journaling, I mean literally just writing down everything that's keeping you awake at night in a notebook or on a piece of paper. Just write down every single intrusive thought that could possibly be keeping you awake at night. And I saw this recommended and I kind of thought, that's retarded. What's that gonna do? I'm still gonna have the problems that I'm thinking about. Writing them down isn't gonna get rid of them. But this is actually very useful, and I'm not lying. I did this last night and this was so useful because firstly, it gets your thoughts, these intrusive thoughts, down away from your head and somewhere else. It's kind of like you taking the problems out of your mind and storing them somewhere else for later. And I realized this when I started writing down all the shit that was keeping me up at night in a notebook, that I actually had like 20 fucking things in my mind. That was what was keeping me awake. So if you do this before bed, just write down every single thing that's keeping you awake, you'll realize you're probably there's too many things on your mind. What I realized writing down all the problems that were keeping me awake, and what you'll realize as well, is that these are real problems that you need to solve. Writing down your problems that are keeping you awake at night aren't gonna automatically solve them, right? I know that, but you need to realize that you need to solve these problems in the daytime. You need to fix these things in the daytime. The nighttime is not the right time to solve these fucking things, right? Like, and what I mean by that is, if you get really shit sleep and your sleep is fucked up, you're not going to be even able to solve these problems in the day. And like, you think maybe that you're helping yourself by keeping yourself awake at night thinking about these problems, and that will like help your brain solve them, but it really doesn't. And the thing is, you need to remember that the nighttime is to sleep. The nighttime is to fucking repair your brain and repair your body. You cannot use the nighttime to solve these problems. Like, I know if you have one day in a while or one night where you stay up thinking about these problems, that's fine, that's normal. But if you consistently have this issue where you're getting no sleep at all because of all these like racing thoughts in your head, you need to realize that you're not going to be able to solve them properly in the daytime if you're keeping them in your mind at night. So in the notebook, I wrote down all the problems that were keeping me up. I wrote down that I would set time aside tomorrow morning in the day to solve these problems. And that's really what you need to do. You need to get into the frame of mind that the nighttime is a time to fucking sleep, bro. You do not want to be awake solving some problems. And I'll go and get the notebook where I wrote down this shit yesterday. Because honestly, I'm not making this up. I actually did it. I actually wrote down all the thoughts that were keeping me awake, and it helped me a lot. So I'll go get the fucking thing. Wait. Of course I put it in like my wardrobe, because if anyone read this shit, it would just be embarrassing. But like, I'm just gonna read it to you because you're my best friend, you know? Like, so last night, I knew I would have another shit sleep last night, because I have been lately, because I have all these thoughts. And so I just was like, you know, fuck it. I'll just write down everything that's keeping me awake. And after I did this, I actually, like last night, had some of the best sleep I've had in like fucking months. Like, I'm not even making that up to like just sound cool or like get views or some shit. I literally had really good sleep last night, and the only thing I did was write down all the things that were keeping me up. And this is gonna sound bad, but I literally wrote down 3 fucking pages worth of shit that was keeping me awake. And this is what I mean. When you consistently aren't getting any sleep, you know you have some major like shit keeping you awake. And in that case, you need to write it down and deal with that and get it out of your fucking brain. And so I was just writing down like, what is keeping me up at night with racing thoughts? Well, there's a lot of shit keeping me up at night, bro. I'm trying to figure out like what YouTube video ideas to create. I'm trying to figure out the right plan forwards and like making money. Another thing that was keeping me up at night was this fucking world in my head, as I said. Like this world in my head that I was like kind of writing about months ago is just like keeping me awake for some reason. So a lot of the times the things you write down as well will be kind of random shit that's not even that important, but it'll still be keeping you up. So yeah, money problems keeping me up. Paranoia about things are keeping me up. Thinking about people judging me is keeping me up, because I'm like, holy shit, why do I have so many subscribers on YouTube now? That's literally keeping me awake at night. It's like, I'm not even joking. This is actually what I wrote down. A lot of these things are like actually fucking cringe, so I won't even tell you about them. But my point is, bro, I wrote down like 30 things that were keeping me awake at night. And this was so useful because now I just had it all out of my head. I no longer had to store 30 things in my head. I'm sorry, as always, I've just been yapping for so long, but I want you to sleep well, because sleep, like, you don't realize how bad being sleep deprived is. Firstly, it makes you feel like you're actually going fucking crazy. I'm not gonna lie. When I've been sleep deprived, I feel like I'm becoming schizophrenic, and that's not just like a thing. Like, people actually start hallucinating after not sleeping for several days. Secondly, it makes you fucking fat. That I'm not lying. Thirdly, it ruins your fucking skin. It ruins just everything about your body. Literally, you will put on weight from being sleep deprived because your body is just not like getting enough rest and repairing itself properly. Like what the fifth thing is like, it literally takes years off your life. It literally like decreases your life expectancy by like 5-10 years or some shit. So you're going to die early if you're sleep deprived. You know what I mean? So yeah, and also writing down all your things or your issues are good, because when you're falling asleep, like this happened to me last night. When you're falling asleep and then one of those intrusive thoughts pops into your head, you can remind yourself like, I wrote that down. I'm gonna think about it tomorrow during the day. This is not the time to think about it. And you're not gonna be able to do that if you have 30 fucking things in your head that you haven't gotten down on a piece of paper. You know what I mean? I don't know. The thing is like, I know there's a bunch of fucking sleep tutorials everywhere on the internet and some shit, but like to honestly, I feel like they're kind of useless. Like you watch a fucking sleep tutorial, it's like, don't go on your phone, meditate 20 minutes before bed, have a warm shower. It's like we're already fucking doing that and our sleep is still cunted, bro. You know what I mean? Like we don't give a fuck about like having a warm shower before bed. That's not gonna like help us sleep. Come on. Anyways, I don't know if you're still listening to me yap, and I don't know if you'll find this useful, but I needed to tell you this because my sleep's been so bad last couple months, and I'm really like recently I've really been fixing it, so I wanted to tell you what I found out, I guess. Yeah, I don't fucking know. Hopefully I helped you. And also another thing is I made a Patreon thing actually because YouTube demonetized my last video for like fucking swearing too much or some shit. They just demonetized that bitch. So I made a Patreon. Like once again, you get absolutely nothing from like from like subscribing to the Patreon thing. It's more like, I don't know, if you want to donate to the Lucid Dream Drug Fund. No, I'm joking. It's a joke. Okay, there's no drug fund, but like I don't know, if you just want to donate. Actually, you do get a special Patreon role in the Discord, so you can feel more important than everyone else. That's the best benefit ever, right? Like you get your ego boosted. But yeah, I just made a Patreon. I thought I should tell you that. Cause yeah, YouTube just fucking demonetized me. I don't know. Anyways, I love you. I hope I helped you. Goodbye.